tropical storm Erin out here in the open Atlantic right now. Right here. We have a wave coming off Africa. It looks pretty strong right now. We'll see what happens with it. And we have a broad low pressure area fixing to move off the Yucatan Peninsula into the Bay of Campeche. Sorry about that. It looks like right now Erin is undergoing some easterly shear, which is faster winds aloft than at the surface, which is shearing it to the west a little bit. That's forecast to lessen over the coming days, and the storm is forecast to become a powerful, large hurricane as it recurves to the north here. And we do think it's going to recurve, at least based on what I've seen so far today. So this is the National Hurricane Center Advisory. It's up to 50 miles per hour. Tropical storm. You see it's moved south of due west the past couple of days. So it's just north of the 15 latitude. And we have this other disturbance I was talking about, 20% chance of development in the next 7 days, 2 days. But in the next 2 days, it'll be over land. So it doesn't develop today, it likely won't develop. Right now, it doesn't look that impressive. Going back to the IR satellite, you see what we're talking about here. The deeper reds, whites are deeper, colder cloud tops. That's what we like to see with cyclones, tropical cyclones, as far as developing goes. We look at the most current thinking as far as track guidance from the National Hurricane Center and all the models. You can see it's pretty tightly clustered through 48 hours, 72 hours, and all of them right now initialized at 06Z today, and it's 7:33 today. That's not too long ago. I'll show it recurving the north and not making direct impacts to the Lesser Antilles. But they do potentially pose a threat to Bermuda, being on the right-hand side of the storm. The chances of them getting bad weather, at least, are better than normal right now. So if we look at the, this is the GEFS, this is the Ensemble from the American model, showing all the different tracks, intensities, and you can see the scale over here, the legend. The deeper magenta is lower pressure, which is stronger system. You can see once we bring it to strengthen it quite significantly once it passes to the north of the Lesser Antilles and the Bahamas. Some models are still wanting to move to the west some, but the majority right now are going to the right. There's Bermuda right there. You can see some models want to take it over top Bermuda. Some of these ensemble members, excuse me. And there's 31 members in here. So most of them agree it's going to strengthen quite significantly once it reaches just north of the Lesser Antilles. If we look at the, this is the super ensemble track and minimum pressure. The super ensemble doesn't seem to want to strengthen it very much. And this is like the combination of the 3 different models, GFS, EC, European, and a few others, maybe the Icon and ECMWF. So average pressure, I'm not really convinced this is that accurate. I have a feeling it's gonna strengthen a lot more. This is kind of underdone here. The track seems about right, but the overall minimum pressure seems way off from what the forecast is. Here's model intensity, guys. You see the most of the models, including the hurricane models, especially the hurricane models that have A and B, AI. Most of the models at least want to make it category 2 or 3. See the UCMET and a few other models a little bit lower. But most agree it's going to make it to at least a category 2, 3, possibly category 4. Category 4 is on the higher end, I think, right now. So this is the current track guidance. Tropical storm through 8 p.m. today, moving to the west as a hurricane, 8 a.m. in the morning tomorrow, moving north of the Western Antilles, Bahamas, becoming a major hurricane. You can see the track spread gets much greater as you get further out in time. So there's a lot of uncertainty. But you can see even the cone of uncertainty does not hit land here. So unless there's a major shift in track to the south, or the motion to the west continues longer than expected, then um, we may have a shift to the south, but that hasn't happened in recent runs. So the Google DeepMind site, you show Erin here, show that low moving into Mexico and maybe moving into Texas. I sure hope not. And I'll become a tropical storm, hurricane. You can see most guidance, as in all the other things I showed you, take it out to sea. I think the chances of hitting the United States at this point are becoming less and less likely, although there will be impacts like rip currents and waves and things like that. Beyond that, we can look at the EPS European Ensemble guidance. We already did that kind of with GFS. The EPS model guidance, 51 members. You see tightly clustered here. Almost no members want to have direct impacts on the Western Antilles, although they skirt pretty close to it, which I have a feeling they're going to have either tropical storm watches or warnings, maybe hurricane watches or warnings put up for the northern islands here, just because of potential skirting really close to it. The model guidance is pretty tightly clustered here. And you can see down here, not many models, ensemble members want to do anything in the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe just before it reaches the coastline there, possibly. Of course, model spread increases as you get out in time. And that's where the model ends. You have some other low pressures potentially developing out here. We'll see. I'll have to see how that goes. The European operational run brings it north of the Lesser Antilles. Russia's close to the Bahamas, and then it starts recurving. That's where the model ends. From the GFS, Ensemble, which we already showed, this position seems about correct, and it starts to move to the west northwest, skirting the northern Leeward Islands. and I don't see. It's pretty tightly clustered, honestly, until it starts to recurve, and only just maybe one member out of all of them wants to bring something even close to the U.S. Majority of the members want to recurve it out to sea at this point. So this is a different look. See if I can get a most recent run here. Different look at the vortex associated with uh, Erin. It looks like it's going to remain quite small in size as it passes north of the Lesser Antilles. So that could mean the sensible impacts to Lesser Antilles may be less than you can see gets larger as it recurs, which isn't unusual for that to happen either. So it looks like it's going to remain quite small, the vortex, and its impact. See here, as it moves through here. If we look at the winds that might accompany this, it looks like most of the significant winds will be on the northern side as it moves over the Lesser Antilles or past the Lesser Antilles. Of course, as it gets stronger, it's going to be more symmetric. So I think the impacts for wind and will be, Lesser Antilles will be minimal. Although there'll probably be a tropical storm watch warning put up in the next couple of days or so. Anyway, just in case, because it's going to make a close approach to it, even though it's going to be small. Um, I showed the East European AI model yesterday. I wanted to show you this again here, and I wanted to point out what's driving its motion here. Up until as it's moving to the west here, it has high pressure to its north, which is keeping it from moving to the northwest too quickly here. As it moves through the flow here, you see high pressure still kind of hanging on here. You see this weakness developing, likely because of there's a trough moving through the flow here. High pressure is right off to this is 500 millibar height here, which is the mid-levels of the atmosphere. High pressure off to its east, flow to the north. High pressure starts building into its south, you see here. And as it does so, it turns out to sea. We have another vortex moving on the base of this high pressure. And the AI model wants to develop another system out here in the southwest tropical Atlantic by August 26th, which is 12 days from now. And it's been wanting to do that for quite a while now. And it shows another vortex out here. That'd be interesting to see if this actually happens. But it's not. Given the consistency of this, I wouldn't rule that out. So I'm gonna switch to the hurricane models here. These are models specifically designed to forecast hurricanes intensity development, and they have a lot of other. They were designed just for hurricane forecasting, and this is the HAFS-A parent, which gives an overall more broader view perspective to this vortex. See it moving eastward, westward here, and really wants to intensify it quite rapidly. And after Hurricane Center kind of thinks that too, there's some rapid intensification possibilities here towards the end of the period. So we look at sea surface temps along its path. 26C is marginal for development. You see as we move further along the path here, it gets warmer, warmer. 28C, 26C is 80F Fahrenheit. It's moving into waters that are quite warm, almost 30. You can see in its wake, sea surface temps get cooler, which is normal. 30 Celsius, close to almost 90 degrees here. In the Gulf, it's even warmer, but that's plenty of fuel for the storm to really blow up when it reaches this area. HAFS-B parent, which is the second hurricane model, shows pretty much the same thing here. Rapid intensification once it reaches the Northern Antilles. Same thing with the sea surface temps. I mean, sea surface temps aren't really a forecast. It's more these numbers are ingested into the models that help it determine about rapid intensification and other factors. I wanted to show you this too, which is kind of interesting. This is the infrared satellite loop depiction, what the models think it'll look like. Trying to develop an eye here, move north of Lesser Antilles. He's moving through the flow here. Quite small at this point, but starting to get better organized and maybe losing some of its convection on the northern side, maybe due to some northerly shear. We'll just have to see how that plays out. But you see the cyclonic envelope start getting quite much larger as it moves to the north. When we look at mid-level moisture, this is a GFS model, and we show this to every day so far during this forecast. Tropical systems like moist environments at the mid-levels, and without that, it's going to struggle. And you see it's surrounded by some drier air for quite some time here. But it wants to really get going here and have a cocoon of moisture. It looks to be drawing moisture from the deep tropics into its circulation here. And as it reaches warmer water, it can kind of create its own environment too. It seems to fend off any drier intrusions until you get way, way out in the deep northern Atlantic Ocean. One thing to keep in mind, I want to show this. This is a significant wave height as we move through the flow here. You can see waves approaching close to the circulation here, although the circulation is quite small right now, wave heights approaching like 20, 30 feet. And this will radiate out towards the Florida coast, southeast coast, along the mid-Atlantic coast in the coming days. Rip currents are definitely a problem here. So if we look at the rip current forecast, I don't have this pulled up. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Well, it's going to take me a minute to find that. But so I won't do that now. I won't waste anybody's time. But keep in mind, rip currents are going to be a problem along the Florida East Coast as this gets closer. This just models the wave height moving out in time here. And it only get more worse along the coast here as it gets closer. So, that being said, let's recap here. We have Erin and um, wind speed probabilities, tropical force wind speed probabilities are pretty closely, tightly centered around the track here, with the probabilities getting less as you move further away from the storm in the Lesser Antilles and the Bahamas here. But along the northern Lesser Antilles, you're talking about a 50% chance of tropical storm force winds and a hurricane force wind probabilities 10-20%, which they may put a hurricane watch out next day or so. This is the likely arrival of tropical storm force winds Friday 8 a.m., 8 p.m., 8 a.m., 8 p.m. Saturday, Sunday. So we can expect tropical storm force winds in the northern parts of the Lesser Antilles, Greater Antilles, and Bahamas, and probably Bermuda, at least tropical storm force winds in the next, through the weekend, at least. Most likely arrival, this is kind of similar, a little bit later. This is the earliest regional, mostly likely, and this is through 3 days. And this is the overlay with the 5-day wind speed probabilities. Oh, here is rip current mask. Let's look it up real quick. Rip currents today, high along the Gulf Coast and moderate along the Florida East Coast. Tomorrow, same thing. Composite, same thing. As of right now, not a huge risk, but there is some along the Carribean Islands here as well. That's all I got for today, guys, for the tropical update and potential Hurricane Erin. Hope you get something out of this and like, subscribe if you feel compelled. Thanks again. Bye bye.